Today we're going to talk about alliteration, the eye candy of literature. You should already know that your book isn't just about the story on the page, but also how it looks on the page. You don't want block after block of text or page after page of dialogue. What you want is a nice smattering of both. Alliteration is an excellent tool to use, not just because of its rhythmic sound, but also its alluring sight. Alliteration means to use several words beginning with the same letter or sound. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. But you don't just have to restrain yourself to the first letter either. You can use a sound in the middle of the word or a combination of sounds. Each dragon scale oozed graphic and gore. Affrontive, offensive, they made my eyes sore. Now, you probably caught that obvious rhyme, but that's not what we're going to take a look at today. This is an excerpt from my poem, Gallantly Garrulous, in which I use a lot of sound repetition. Let me show you. Notice how the hard sound of the G stands out in the first line. Each dragon scale oozed graphic and gore. But also notice how I pronounced the sharp C in scale by choosing to offset it with graphic. Now in the second line, affrontive and offensive have such similar sounds that they almost rhyme. But did you also see how those particular words repeated the F sound seen in graphic? In case you're wondering, no, affrontive is not actually a real word. I used what we call poetic license. One of my favorite writers uses quite a bit of alliteration in his work. This is from Artemis Fowl, The Eternity Code by Owen Colfer on the topic of cryogenics. They fell over themselves to have their frail frames frozen. You don't have to be blatant with this sound repetition. In fact, it would be far better if you were clever with it. You don't want to go overboard either if you're writing a prose novel, unless you're trying to be really unique, because it could throw off your reader. After all, they're not looking for poetry. You also want to look at the words you're using. Not necessarily read them, but look at how they sit on the page in conjunction with the other words you've chosen. Do you have too many words of the same length? Too many Y's that pull down your sentence? Or not enough of them? You don't just want your story to read well and sound pretty. You want it to look good, too. When you hit the editing stage, you just want to look at your sentences, at your paragraphs, and determine what word choice sound and look the most impressive, the most alluring. Which words flow off the tongue and which ones jar to a halt between your teeth. On Wednesday, I'm going to be doing the writing habits tag, so you don't want to miss that. And on Friday, I'll be talking about proper grammar and punctuation, emphasis on semicolons, because they're my little darlings and I hate to see them misused.